Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we have done something a little bit different. This is my first collaborative review. Myself and Dominic Rocha speak about the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie at length. We also discuss our excitement and our thoughts towards the new Illumination Super Mario Bros. Movie that's coming out in the next year or so. It's quite the informal chat, this one. It isn't the normal review standards that we do, so maybe you want to put your earphones in and get on with something else. It's a little bit longer than usual. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and by all means, please check out Dom Rocker's channel. I will put a link in the description below. Super Mario Brothers, your first thoughts?
Oh God, I was writing it down as I was watching it, and it's literally my first thought was, I can't believe I'm watching this. I can't believe I watched this. It started out really good for the first 2 seconds when they played the Mario theme, and then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, it did. That's not bad saying, actually. You hear that bit of music and you're like, maybe there's a chance this has a good film here. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, no, we're in for a ride.
Oh, and what a ride it was.
There's so many like just what the fuck moments.
The whole movie was that.
So it starts with like this really strange dinosaur sequence where they're talking about how dinosaurs want to come to modern day Brooklyn, I think, from what I remember. And I just really struggle to understand how people sat down in a room to discuss the plot of a Mario film, and that's where it went. We're going to try and bring dinosaurs to modern day Brooklyn.
I wrote this later, but it was one of those things where it's like, someone had to write this. There
Yeah.
was three writers on this, and I'll get to their names later, but I felt like this was one of those things where there was a movie that someone wrote, and like it had nothing to do with Mario, but then
Mm.
I forgot who, which company decided to make a Mario film. They're like, okay, we got the IP to Mario. We don't know what to write about Mario. Let's just slap it on top of this movie that someone wrote, and then here's the Mario Bros.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're 100% there. That explains a lot if that is what happened.
It sounds like because this came out in the '90s, right?
Yes, 1993 it came out. So
Yep,
yeah, there, and it kind of shows, really, doesn't it?
it really does. Because like I know people like watching, they're like, why do we need to start in New York and not the Mushroom Kingdom? Like it's that the game is right there to use, and no one wants to make an adaptation. I mean, they are now, but
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm excited and worried for the new one, if that makes sense. I think there's some good choices. Like I think Jack Black as Bowser can be
I think that's the best choice.
that's good fun. I think that's good fun, but it is that Chris Pratt Mario thing where I'm like, how's that going to turn out? I'm not sure how that's going to work.
I don't see him as Mario, but
It's the voice, isn't it?
I it's the voice, but I'm gonna give him a chance because I mean they chose him for a reason.
I certainly think he can make it funny. I do think he can hit that light-hearted, let's have a bit of fun sort of nature to Mario, which I think would work quite well. But I just see the image of Mario, and then I hear the voice from Guardians of the Galaxy, and it just doesn't quite line up for me. But like you say, I will give him a chance. I do like him quite a lot, and the rest of the cast actually looks pretty solid, to be fair.
I am most intrigued by Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong,
Yes, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be fun. But yes, with the bad film, the one we know that's not good.
the one that you made me watch.
Yeah, sorry about that. I can only apologize.
No, it's all good. No, it's funny. I just love the idea. He's like, yeah, you've played the Mario games. Let's watch the Mario movie. I'm like,
Let me drag you into this with me. I think you've got a great point with the idea of actually doing it in the Mushroom Kingdom. That could have been a lot of fun if they went that path. It maybe wouldn't have translated amazingly, being the 90s and not having perfect CGI and things like that.
I mean, even if they kind of like did the whole dinosaur thing, but they didn't even say New York or mention New York, they're just Mario and Luigi are just plumbers in that world altogether. That would have been a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think just doing that alone allows so much sort of the crazy stuff can happen and you won't question it as much, you know?
Yeah, because they'd be used to it. That would be their world.
Yeah, it's when they blend the real world with the crazy stuff, like they're driving police cars around and having car chases, and it's like, is this still Mario and Luigi? Is this still the Mario Brothers?
It's Mario Kart now.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But they could have still done that, but done it in go-karts or something like that, and it could have been a clever little nod. There was a note you said that I thought was really good, actually, and I think this could have worked for the film as well. Is if they were really like they knew what they were doing with it. It was the note where you said you wanted Bob Hoskins to say, "It's a me, Mario."
Oh yeah, at the end, because they're like, "Oh, who are the plumbers? Like, who are these plumbers?" And then at the end, when Mario has his battle with King Koopa, I would have loved King Koopa to say like, "Who are you?" And then just Bob Hoskins just like in his voice, just like, "It's me, Mario," or something like that, super dramatic, and that would have made the film for me.
Oh, I agree. I actually think it would have played quite nicely. I think it would then sort of give the film a pass to just be goofy, just have a bit of fun, take the mick out of yourself at times. Talking about the performances, did you like Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo? Did you think they were good or could have been better?
Bob Hoskins, I think he did a phenomenal job with like what he was given, and well, I forgot his name, who played Luigi.
John Leguizamo.
I think he could have been a better Luigi. I think the way they wrote the character just didn't fit.
Yeah, no, I was about to say the same thing. I think for how Luigi is written, it's unnecessarily complicated for a character that really shouldn't be that complicated. I think I don't really know if he ever really gets into the groove of the character, and he never really he just I never really buy him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, neither did I.
I think I could say the same for Bob Hoskins as well. It's a tough role. He's sort of put in the shadows a little bit, and yet he's not really that sort of actor, especially in the UK. He's normally a leading man sort of person. So I think they're both in that same category. They're weird and quite tricky roles to do well.
That's close to the point. What I was gonna say, like Bob Hoskins should
Mm.
have, like Mario should have been the main character. They put it on Luigi, and like I tried to follow along with the plot and the story arcs and everything. It was just
It's hard.
with so much going on. I couldn't keep up. But it was just like Luigi's story. He had like kind of two stories. One where he was like to be that plumber to be, and like he gets that in the end when he's using the tools, but it's like not really a plumber thing. And then his other storyline is him being a simp, and that didn't like mesh well.
It is strange. There are little moments, like you mentioned there, that they do work, but they are the tiniest little moments. There's a little bit in their apartment where they have a rack for their plungers. I thought that was quite funny, actually. I know it's really small and brief, but little bits like that in the background sometimes are all right. It's just they're so far and few between. There's only like five of them in the whole film.
There's only like five scenes where it's like this works as a Marvel, like especially like the plumber bit where they're closing the pipes and stuff to like let the office building cool down.
Mm,
And I thought that was pretty cool, at least as a plumber take.
yeah.
And then going off of that, when Mario rescues all the women who were kidnapped, and they go down the ice chute, I want to say that was a reference to Mario 64 when like you go to the ice world and you have to race the penguin.
Yeah, do you know, I didn't see it at the time, but when you said it in the message, I was like, yeah, I think it might be actually. I didn't clock at all, but when you said it, I was like, that, that does ring a bell now, actually. I do remember skating around with penguins. It could be.
I hope that was just someone's idea.
Maybe that was something they had to do contractually, like with product placement, like, oh, big up this game and big up Mario Kart and things like that. But the way the film actually turned out, they kind of had to do it in this weird way and not just be on the nose about it. So Princess Daisy, that was the next point I was going to make. So why do you think they went for Princess Daisy? Because I'm not like super well versed with Mario, but to my knowledge, it's always Princess Peach that does the saving. And I don't know what conversation made them go subvert your expectations because it's going to be Daisy. I don't really get that.
And I'm not that well versed with Daisy in the lore of Mario and stuff, but and it was an interesting choice. I mean they could have gone Peach and then the whole Mario route, or they could have if they wanted to go crazy, go with like the first Mario appearance and have it be Donkey Kong as the villain, and then he's trying to save Pauline.
I think that could have been fun actually. I mean, it might have been difficult because I mean, a big angry ape and the CGI, or do you get someone to do that in a suit, for example, or makeup? That could be tricky, but I do think that could be fun. I mean, it sticks to the spirit of the game, really, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
but it would be lacking on story.
It's a simple story of Mario Plumber goes up a warehouse dodging barrels.
Yeah, climbing ladders and
There's a character arc somewhere in there.
somewhere we can find it. Yeah. How did you feel about that crazy world that they step into when they go into that very convincing portal?
1990s Detroit. No, I'm kidding. No, it just as soon as they entered the different world and it just being basically underground like New York, and it felt like you didn't really enter a new world. You just entered a crazier
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, the police station raises so many questions for me. Like, why are they still wearing fairly normal uniforms? Like, apart from like a strange spiky leather jacket, it's pretty much a cop uniform. It's
Because they this world grew in a like not even parallel, just a different universe. You would think it would grow differently, but it's just the exact same. It's just
yeah,
less.
yeah, and with just a lot of goo and fungus around.
Well, the Goon Fungus was a person.
Yeah, yeah, we need to get to that as well. The I can only describe it as a gooey testicle that hang from the ceiling. It's it's a bizarre choice. I don't know how did it ever get to that. Like,
I'm telling you, someone wrote a film and then someone else just slapped the Mario IP on top of it.
yeah, I mean, if you said this was some sort of like alien movie and that was the end result of like this weird thing hanging off the ceiling, that would make a bit more sense. I don't know if it'd be good, but it makes more sense than being in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
It removes from the character of Daisy. I think she's okay here for again for what it is. She does get a little bit of backstory with the idea that she was from this land and she doesn't really remember it or anything like that. And then the bad guy just says, "This is your dad," and that's that. Then that's where that's going.
She agrees with it.
Yeah, no questions asked. This is my long lost father. This weird hanging sack of goo. And it just removes from one of the somewhat okay characters from this film.
And like even at the end, you only see him turn to a human, and that's it. We don't get any recollection or Daisy actually meeting her father for real.
Yeah,
It's just that she's like, "This goop is my father." Anyway,
I mean, if they did do that, it could have like salvaged it a bit, made it a bit better than what it actually is.
a little bit more heartwarming.
At least it became something. It had a payoff, at least. What about King Cooper? How do you feel about him in this movie?
Put him in another movie, I think he would have been fine.
Yeah, I can see that. I actually think Dennis Hopper's having a lot of fun, despite how bad it is. I don't think his dialogue's very good. I don't think any of what he's actually being asked to do is very good. Just like making people sit in a chair and have their heads changed into a reptile. I mean, I don't blame him because I wouldn't know how to perform with that. But I can see he's enjoying the role. You can see that when he's telling his henchmen, like, I will kill you myself, you can really see his eyes are like, I mean it. And it's like, I see that you've got a commitment to this, and I respect that at least.
Yeah, I have nothing really like poor to say about him. Just like again, the writing and the dialogue and all that. I feel like
Yeah.
if this was an actual like Mario adaptation and he was actually like a King Koopa, I think he would have again sold the role still.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I was also going to say they're not all bad about this movie. I do think it's filmed quite well. There's no really bad shots. I mean, they're not brilliant, but there's no really obvious errors that stand out to me. I'm no expert, but nothing really leapt out as me like, oh, I can see a microphone hanging down or that extra's acting strangely. Like generally speaking, things like the car chase, I could see what was happening. There was no sort of stunt doubles that seemed really unobvious or like really obvious to me. I thought it was filmed pretty well, all in all. I couldn't really complain on that behalf.
Yeah, no, I like the positive of that is that the people who were hired to make this film made the film. Like I want to say someone on that set probably was a Mario fan, was grumpy about it the entire time, but he's like, I'm getting paid to make this.
Yeah, the guy holding the mics was definitely crying through this, I reckon.
Yeah, so like it at moments like that, I feel like as a filmmaker, it's a job. Like there's probably some passion that was thrown into this film, but like seeing the end result, I don't know. I want to say someone, because they always do screenings after like not drafts, but edits of a film. And I'm wondering how many times someone like they showed it to an audience, and they're like, "You sure?"
Yeah. Oh, I bet there was a
It,
few test screenings for this. Yeah. And a couple of rewrites, I'd have thought too. I mean, we sort of spoke about it, but there are those brief moments where there is Mario in here, but it's just tiny moments, like when the bomb drops down from the ceiling. I thought because it's been so long since I'd seen it, I actually thought that was going to play out. I thought Luigi was going to pick it up and throw it at the guards that are chasing them, and then Mario just pulls him away from it and says no, and it's like, so you wrote the opportunity to do something Mario, and then you actively wrote to not do that. That seems like a strange choice.
and even the end when they do it, and like you just see Bob Hoskins winding up the toy, it's like I thought you were just gonna throw it at him.
Yeah,
Like that would have been the simpler case.
I'd have thought so.
Yeah, going off of that, like the bomb is like one of the few things that are actually like designed from the Mario game. It's like it's perfect adaptation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yoshi's somewhat close. I mean, like that's kind of hard to do live action.
yeah. I can see how they got to that final concept with Yoshi. I mean, when you first see it, you go, is that really Yoshi? But when you think about it and how the rest of the film is, it's like, yeah, okay, that really isn't the worst thing here. That's okay. Like, I can tolerate Yoshi.
As far as the design, they designed it in the world that they had, which is dinosaurs, which is not bad because Yoshi is a dinosaur.
Mm,
Um, and then like as for like the character, the Yoshi being like a friendly guy to the main characters, they got at least that right.
yeah. I was going to say he's also he looks pretty convincing. There's a moment where Daisy pulls a fork out of his side. It doesn't look bad at all. It's quite convincing, to be fair. But yes, no, I can see how they got to that. But it is just bizarre that they went down this road. That's where it went. This film went wrong from before they even got the cameras out, really, didn't it?
Oh yeah, and like, and I said I was gonna pull this out later, but like as for those three writers, um, we have Parker Bennett. I don't really know who that is. Terry Runette. I apologize if I'm pronouncing names wrong. And then Ed Solomon. Ed Solomon. Oh, I thought I wrote down, but he's a pretty big screenwriter.
I've certainly heard his name before. It rang a bell as soon as you said it, but I can't think why I'd have heard of him.
He wrote Bill and Ted.
All right, yeah, yeah.
The Now You See Me films.
Oh yeah.
Men in Black, the first one, I think. I don't know if he wrote the second one.
Nice. Already, that's pretty damn big, isn't it? Just off those three.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then I want to say he came in at the end to help try to fix Mario Bros. Because I don't know for sure if he was from the start, because that would be kind of uncharacteristic, or if they just brought him in to try to fix things. Because I want to say that's probably it.
Yeah, it can be. Most scripts these days do go through like polishes and things like that. And I mean, from what you're saying of his track record, you would think that would be the case. It does seem weird for him to just say, let's just be mental on this one for no reason whatsoever. So I think you're probably right. It is hard to know. I have seen interviews with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, and they said about the director, or I think it was a married couple as the directors, and they have both gone on record of saying that they were just god awful people to work with. Apparently, they were very egotistical. They both somewhat suggested, but didn't definitely confirm, that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo were drinking on the set just to get through some of the shoots because it was that sort of film. I think they knew it was bad as they were filming it. I think they were well aware.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame them.
I think, I mean, you'd have to be blind to look around and think, yeah, we're making Super Mario movies. Yeah.
I'm wondering if like the directors knew what Super Mario was when
Hmm.
they were making this.
Yeah, that is a question. I mean, if it was me personally and I didn't know anything about a game and somebody asked me to make that game, the first thing I would do is admit that I don't know anything about it. But I'd be willing to research. I'd put my hours in, would dig deep, but I would tell everyone, just steady on. You might want to look at somebody who does know what they're doing here. And I wonder if, with what we said about potentially being quite an egotistical couple, they probably had no idea, and they just said, "Yeah, that works for me. I can do that for you."
I'm trying to wonder how they got the job because they would have to show a proof of concept of something that they made that like the producers like this is the group we want making this film.
You would, yeah, you'd have thought like a film pitch or something like that. I don't know because it's hard to say with something like Mario. It's such a money maker, isn't it? That I don't know how bad you wouldn't really have to sell it to somebody to make it. They would just see Mario and they'd be like, "Oh, yes, we'll make something like that. We'll make teddy bears out of it, and so on and so forth." So I wonder if it was like the trust in the franchise that things like that maybe slip through the gaps. They probably said, "We want to make a Mario movie," and they said, "Say no more. Here's your money. Get on with it." Because it does seem strange that I don't know where the deviation happened from the Mushroom Kingdom to this very strange 90s underground type of film. Let's just gonna have a quick look on Rotten Tomatoes to see how it's viewed on there. Super Mario Bros. Oh wow, yeah, not good. So the tomato meter is 28% and an audience score of 29%. It was not reviewed well.
I mean, 29%, if you look at it, is like not that bad. There's people who like it.
So yeah, I think we've covered everything. Unless there's anything else that you can think of, if you wanted to give a general consensus on the film.
I'll give my conclusion. You can give your conclusion if
Yeah.
you want to go that way. So I'm just going to read word for word from what I wrote down, which is I can sit here and say what they could have done differently or keep complaining about the film. But for what it is on face value, it got the job done. It took an hour and 44 minutes off my life, and I enjoyed parts of it. 2 out of 10.
You're a kinder man than I am. Word for word, I actually wrote, "You can feel the acid and cocaine that was consumed through the making of this movie." That's quite strong. But in conclusion, it's pretty shit from start to finish. But I have added that with friends and alcohol, it could be one of the funniest nights you can have in a long time. It just picking out the bad things and where they went wrong and just getting drunk and just having fun with it for what it actually is. In that standard, it's a good movie. It's a good bad movie. But as an actual
hmm
movie, I've got to give it a 1 out of 10. The only good thing I can find is that it's competently filmed. Apart from that, I'm really like, you got to give me something. You got to give me something if you want to get a higher score.
Yeah, I definitely gave it the 2 just for the opening scene. That's it. Not even opening scene, opening music. That's it.
Yeah, they got that right, I suppose. And the little bomb. So yeah, I suppose there are little moments in there that could get a second point. I can see that.
It's just a film sprinkled with Mario.
Before we go, your general thoughts towards the new movie? Excited, looking forward to it. Do you have any idea as to what they're going to do with it in plot and things like that?
No idea. I just hope they don't go back to New York.
Yes, I don't think they will. Just from the designs that I've seen, I haven't really driven that deeply into it, but already the designs look pretty good. I think they are gonna. I hope they're gonna do it in the Mushroom Kingdom, and they're gonna stay somewhat game accurate. I hope.
I think Nintendo is really staying with like the production as it goes along just to make sure like this like film that we just reviewed doesn't happen again. Because I know afterwards Nintendo didn't want to make or sell their IPs for films like forever until this came along.
Yeah, and the one thing that does worry me is that it's Illumination, and I worry if it's going to be a little bit too corporate. Like you see how the minions have become like they sell toys for first and foremost. It isn't really about the quality of the picture; it's about merchandising and so on. And I do worry about that a little bit. Is this going to be a bit of a merchandise gimmick type of film, or is this actually going to be a genuine fan film, people who like Mario to enjoy? Or hopefully, I mean, maybe a bit of both. It could well be a bit.
That's what I'm gonna guess too, because usually with Illumination, like their first films are usually a hit and everyone loves them, and then like afterwards is when they start merchandising, and the sequels are just to sell more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is some hope that when you think, I know it's a different gaming franchise, but when you look at Sonic the Hedgehog from, was it last year or the year before?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, that was received quite well. And when you look at, when do you remember that first trailer we had of it and how everyone was a bit worried, but they listened to the fans and they fixed it up, and it was a pretty good film for what it was. I certainly enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to be terrible, and I came out sort of going, not bad. That was all right actually. So I do think seeing that recently does give me a little bit of hope that maybe these gaming movies are starting to find a stride a little bit rather than the pretty awful track record that they have in the past.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering if this is kind of like the start of like how superhero films were back in the 90s, how it was starting to gain traction, and then where we're at today
Mm.
is the next phase of Hollywood video games, hopefully, finally.
I think so. And I think when you look at other upcoming projects, there's The Last of Us coming up. I think that's going to be pretty successful. I wasn't the biggest fan of the second game, but I am still going to check out that show. Immediately when I saw the pictures, I was like, okay, this looks pretty accurate. I like that I'm seeing that with gaming films, gaming shows now, that I can see what they're making just in a picture alone. I can see that whoever the director is, the writer is, they have interacted with the source material. They're not just doing as they do in this movie and just seemingly making it up as they go along.
And as when as when the new Mario comes out, I think we should come back and record a review for that.
Yes, definitely. That is a great idea. We should definitely do that. If there's anything Super Mario, you're my guy. You're who I'm going to.
Don't. If you ever seen my videos, I'm terrible at the games, but that's the fun of it.
Don't worry, I'm the same. I still play them though. I'm awful at Sonic the Hedgehog, and yet I still just go to it. It's such an easy sort of switch your brain off and just get into the groove of it type of game. They're usually the best ones.
Absolutely.
But yes, anyway, thanks for reviewing Super Mario Brothers with me. I'm sorry for making you watch that god awful movie.
It was a ton of fun just to be able to do this and collab finally.
Yeah, yes, finally, it's been good fun. I've enjoyed this, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on.